The one in the front.
That's where all the key is.
Yes, of course.
Some brake cleaning.
Last year, you know, we showed up with the biggest guns, I think, with the Fiestas, and Kenny and I had a great battle in the semifinals. It was too bad that the two Fords had to go against each other in the semifinals, and we were really, really close, and I made the defining mistake and gave him the win there, and he went on to get gold. Still was happy with bronze, but this year we've got, I mean, a huge arsenal coming. We've got 4 Fiestas, got 3 Rockstar cars, and I mean, we're going to assault it.
Certainly there's an all-star lineup, but the Fiesta's the really key. I mean, you described it as an angry little beast last year.
Yeah, the Fiesta is, it's hard to describe what it's like to drive, and I've been lucky enough that I've been doing the European Rallycross Championship this year in Europe, and which has rules very similar to the new event at X Games, Super Rally. And so I've had a lot of time in the Fiesta, and I'm lucky I get to drive a lot of things, but every single time I go back and get in this car, it just shocks me at how vicious it is. You know, it's one of the few cars that I ever get to drive that I don't feel like I need to do the work. It's more like I have to calm the car down. It wants to go much harder and faster than I'm willing to let it. Super Rally is the ultimate. It's got dynamic driving, you know, over the gravel and pavement. It's got jumps, and now it has door-to-door pushing. So it's really the ultimate. I think the American fans are going to love it. Maybe we continue this.
Is he going to shut down, or is he going to run?
I think he's going to let it run.
All right, we'll do it later.
Yeah, we'll continue it. Do you want to do one with the sound, and then we'll get one later?
Okay. All right. Talk a little bit about balancing multiple events, because you've got rallycross and the rally racing.
This year at X Games, it's a little bit tricky because we have two events in the same day on Saturday. And the first event is the rally car event, where two cars are on their own, basically their own tracks, but there is that huge jump. But you have to save the car a little bit for the afternoon event, where the real carnage happens, and that's Super Rally. It's a very similar track, still incorporates the huge jump, but 4 cars door to door pushing each other around the track. So I don't think people are going to hold much back on the first event, but you definitely have to keep the mindset that you only have about an hour and a half to get your car ready for event number 2, Super Rally.
The price is the same. Ready? Yep. The price is the same. There's a gold medal for both. I mean,
yeah, there's a gold medal for each event, and you really have to not approach it like a championship. You know, they're 2 individual events, so you want to win them both, right?
Okay.
That's what it's about.
Talk a little bit about what you're hoping to accomplish here today during the testing.
During testing, we're at the militia compound, and Deegan has gone ahead and built, you know, pretty close to an exact replica of the track layout. Obviously, we don't have the entrance into the stadium and the exit out, but and he didn't build the Coliseum like arches. I don't know what he was thinking, but just got lazy, I guess. No, but it's very cool that he's built a replica here. So we're getting a feel for gear ratios, for suspension, tires, what tires work on the gravel, etc., and making sure everything's mechanically sound before we jump into the stadium. At X Games this year, not only do we have 1 car event, now we have 2. So besides Rally Car, we also have Super Rally added to it. And it's really, I think, kind of an ultimate motorsport. Super Rally is essentially all the cool parts about driving. Sideways driving on the gravel, jumps, incredibly fast 600 horsepower Fiestas and other cars, and door to door. That's the big difference, is there's a lot of pushing and rubbing in Super Rally. It's modeled after a type of racing called European Rallycross, which I've been lucky enough to compete in this year. But it's going to be a big show for sure.
Now, so 2 different disciplines in the same day. I mean, how do you know, you got to switch gears midstream.
Flash, no flash, please.
Historically, doing the rally racing in X Games was like a sprint. Historically, rally racing in the X Games was a sprint event. You know, you basically had qualifying, some heats, semifinals, and the final, and that was it. You ran maybe 4 times if you were lucky. But now you need to kind of save the car a little bit, because we're doing that whole event in the morning on Saturday, and then in the evening is Super Rally. And that's where the real carnage is going to happen. So I think there's a little bit of a different mentality. You need to save the car, because most guys are using the same car for both events. We may be using different suspension or tires, but it's really going to be a matter of not hurting the car over the jump in the morning.
Talk a little bit about what you're hoping to accomplish here this afternoon in the Fiesta.
Deegan has put together an amazing replica of the track at the militia compound here, and he didn't go as far as to build the whole Coliseum, but he almost went that far. We don't have the entrance in and out of the stadium, but it's a great opportunity to find the right gearing for these sharp little turns that we're going to be doing this year, to find the right tires on a mostly dirt surface. Unlike last year, we're not going to be burning down 2 miles of pavement. So there'll be a bias towards gravel tires, and it's good to test that, and to find a suspension setting that works on the jump.
I'm very stoked to be finally testing, getting ready for X Games. It's crazy how much pressure is put on us for just such a short amount of time that you have to perform, you know, kind of, you know, on the minute at exactly the time that they tell you to go. So it's quite different than being out on the rally stages, but it's something that I really enjoy, so I'm looking forward to both events this Saturday.
A year ago, you were on the other side against the Fiesta. You saw firsthand what the Fiesta had in it. Now you've got that weapon at your disposal. Talk a little bit about the car and what your expectations are for this weekend.
Well, you know, I've been in this car all year, testing and developing it for the Rally America stages, and as a rally car it was quite different, and now it's back to what it's really built for, being a rallycross. So it's actually quite fun getting in there with the bigger power restrictors, so I actually have a lot more power now than I did in the Rally America series, and the setup and the feeling of the car being lighter and kind of better prepared for the rallycrosses is quite a very nice feeling and a big change from what I've been dealing with all year. I was excited when this car came over last year. It was good to have more competition, especially a very high level of competition, and this car won, so I'm excited to be in it for this year.
First time at X Games, there's actually 2 rally competitions. We have the regular rallycross, or the rally competition that we had last year, and then the super rally, which will be in the afternoon. Talk a little bit about having two different approaches for 2 events.
Well, you know, for me, it's both the events are so unlike what we do out on the stages that you have to approach them completely different, and I'm stoked that there's 2. It's 2 chances for us to get out and compete against some very, very good level of competition, and I'm very confident this year. I've been in this car all year. We've been developing it, the suspension and the setup of it, and I've got it really dialed. I'm really happy where it's at, so I'm really looking forward to both these events.
You're the centerpiece of a lot of activation stuff for Ford, including the debut of your TV commercial this weekend. Talk a little bit about the shoot and, you know, some of the stuff that's going on around Fiesta at X Games.
Well, that's the funny thing about all this is that, you know, I'm sort of a lucky bastard that I get to get out and enjoy these fun cars, and Ford's done a great job of doing a lot of activation with me, and this commercial that's going to be airing on all the programming for the X Games is something that was a great bonus for me to be a part of that with Ford. So I'm really excited about that. We did some shooting out in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and did some nice things that you normally wouldn't do with the rally car, and that's the basic concept of the commercial. So I think it's a great concept, and I hope the final commercial comes out very good. The rough edits that I saw were very good, and look forward to seeing that on TV.
Last question, talk a little bit about what you're trying to accomplish here today during testing.
Well, with testing, we're looking at car setup, you know, basic suspension type stuff, and also tires. So there's a big variety of tires that we have available to us, and the tire situation is probably going to be the most difficult and most complicated thing of the whole setup process, especially being that there isn't existing dirt in the stadium. They're actually bringing in dirt and trying to make it as solid as possible, and then it's going to deteriorate over time. So we have to be ready for all sorts of conditions, and that's probably the part that's going to make the whole event, as far as kind of the strategy and thinking, be the most difficult. So today is really a learning process to kind of learn all the various tire setups, suspension setups, and be ready for whatever happens on Saturday.
Cool, thank you.
Can we do that one more time with what you're going to be doing up there in terms of maybe specifically doing one of the turns, and can you use the word Fiesta as far as what you're doing with the Fiesta around one of those turns and what you're experimenting with?
No problem. Wow. Throw all that in one sentence. Well, with the testing, we have a basic course setup that mimics some of the turns that we'll be seeing in the stadium. So there's tighter corners, there's longer corners, and basically the idea is to be able to get my Ford Fiesta through these corners, especially the hairpins, as quick as possible. So there's a lot of things that we do with suspension setup and variations of tires, and even going as far as like differential setups to try and make the car turn, rotate, and get grip as quick as possible to accelerate down the next straightaway. So it's a lot of things that we have to think about, and luckily for me, I've been dealing with this car and its setups all year, so I feel like I'm at a bit of advantage than the other guys. So it's going very well. I'm looking forward to getting all this time in the car and being ready for the weekend.